Hi, everybody. We are going to talk about Strange Houses by Uketsu, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't speak Japanese. This is a Japanese name right here. So if you know how to pronounce it and can put it into phonics for me, do it down in the comments. Let me know how to pronounce this. There may be a couple other names that I use that I have trouble pronouncing as well. Please be kind. I do not speak Japanese, so I will do my very best. Strange Houses was published in 2021. And this edition here was published in 2025. And I think it was republished, or this edition came out because it was translated by the guy named Jim Ryan. So this is probably the English translation of the story. It's about a writer who throughout the book is called author, Author. That's the only thing. We don't have a name for the author at all. Referring to my notes again, this author focuses on the macabre. Macabre? How do you pronounce it? I don't know. Spooky stuff? Scary stuff? Eerie stuff? So that's what he focuses on, weird things. He is asked by an acquaintance of his to check out a house that they're thinking about purchasing. And so he gives him the floor plan of the house, and it's a two-story house, upstairs, downstairs. It has all the typical stuff in it. And what's nice is the book includes drawings of the house in it, and the author, Uketsu, asks us to take a look at them. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was the fictional writer, the fictional author, who asked us to look at them and see if there's anything in them that we see strange. And so I'm looking at it because houseplants are fascinating, right? I'm not going to show them all the way to you. That's a little upside down and washed out. So I'm looking at it and trying to figure out where things are. And I see in Japan, you have like a bathroom the wet room where you take your baths. And then you have a separate toilet. Sometimes they're in the same room separated by what do you call it? Like a door, like a sliding door or something like that. Like you would see in America, at least, you have those shower doors that you can shift around. But in Japan, the toilet is separate from the shower. So you're not in the same room necessarily for your shower. So I was noticing that. And I was noticing how far away the toilet was from everything. So you have to like walk clean across the house if you need to use the toilet. It's not conveniently located near the door where, when you first run into the house, I don't know about you guys, but I seem to have to go really bad the minute I step across the threshold of my home. So I was like, and why is the bathroom in such a weird place? Why is it at the top of the stairs or something like that? Why is it so weirdly laid out? So I can't figure out if there's anything wrong with the house other than it didn't look like a layout that I particularly cared for. I would certainly have rearranged it in a different way, but this is fiction. This is this house, and it's set up that way for a reason. Since the author, the writer, does not know architecture, he sees on the floor plans that it's weirdly set up. There are some hidden rooms or some dead spaces in it, and he can't figure out why those are there. So he's thinking maybe it's structural, maybe, it was an afterthought. They were going to put something there and then they walled it in. So he goes to his friend who is an actual architect. His friend's name is Kurihara. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Kurihara. So he is an architect, and he takes a look at the drawings and he notices something weird about the dead space. And he's thinking, okay, well, why is this dead space here? And then why on the second floor is the child's room the way that it is? So the child's room has no windows. It's like all enclosed. That's it. It's just enclosed. It has a double door to get into it. So there's like, you have to enter into the primary bedroom of the home. This house seems to have two bedrooms and perhaps a guest room downstairs. So it has the child's room and it has the primary bedroom up on the second floor. And to get to the child's room, you have to go through the primary room, which is a little weird. I can imagine if you had a baby and this was a nursery, perhaps that would be good because then you can jump out of bed and go take care of your baby that way. But this didn't seem to be a baby's room because they showed the furniture and everything. There wasn't like a crib or anything in the room. So it's a dark, no natural light room for the kids or kid, whoever. The author, the fictional author, was wondering why the dead space lines up with some shelves. So in the child's room. So in the child's room, there are some strategically placed shelves, like some bookshelves or toy shelves or something like that. And when you overlay the second floor over the first floor, yeah, over the first floor. I'm thinking how some people call the very first floor the ground floor, so that's the floor that you walk into. So when you first walk into the house, that's considered the ground floor. Here in the U.S., we call that the first floor. And you have the basement, and you have your second floor, which in some countries would be the first floor. So you'd have the ground floor, and then the first floor, what we call the second floor. At any point, the two-story house. He overlaid the top floor and the bottom floor. And notice that the dead space that happens to be in the kitchen aligns with the shelf in the child's room. So he starts thinking, because he's into the spooky stuff, maybe there's something in that. It's a really small space. Could somebody get down in there? Maybe somebody's hiding in there and they're trying to keep them secret. So this dead space is used for movement. And Kurihara is like, nope, it's for murder. The only person that can get in there is a kid. The kid goes and murders them and comes back up. Already, it's a murder house. Like, that's, you guys didn't even start out thinking of anything innocent. It's just immediately, this is a murder house. That's creepy. Are there a lot of them? This makes me scared. I don't know if I want to go to Japan. If these things are prevalent everywhere. At any point, the writer in the story goes back and writes an article and implores the public for help. Help me understand, these types of houses that have extra spaces or dead spaces in them for no real reason. Has anybody encountered this before? And maybe they could help him. And so a woman shows up in response to this news article. And she says she's looking for answers. Like, I got to know what's going on. There was a body that was found in the woods, and that body had been dismembered, and all the parts of that body were together in one space except for the gentleman's left hand. So his hand was gone. It was nowhere to be found. So you're thinking, well, why would the left hand be taken and all the other parts still be there? If someone was trying to hide what they were doing, wouldn't they scatter everything everywhere, like you see in the movies? I don't know. But the left hand is gone and no one knows where it is. And she says that she knows a gentleman who was found missing his left hand too. Could it be connected? And oh, by the way, she happens to have house plans, the floor plan for another house very similar to the one that the author is looking at. And it has weird rooms. It's set up very strange. So in this house, there's also a child's room that has no windows. It's also accessed through the primary bedroom, and the toilet area and the bath areas are in weird places. So you're kind of like, what? Why do these houses look like that? Did somebody decide at the last minute they didn't like it? Or were they truly murder houses? So that's what the author's trying to find out, along with his architecture friend. Okay, so the writer and Kurihara believe that these two houses are connected because they are strange. At one point, the author did find out who owned the second house, and that led them to learn that the same family owned the first house that he looked at. Then the woman who brought the author the second floor plan admits that she is related to the people that moved into this house. They belong to a big family, and I'm not going to go into all that because that's going to give away everything. Okay, so she is part of the family that built and owned these houses. and she may have some inside information as to what these houses were for, why the children's rooms were the way they were, and possibly, possibly why people were missing their left hand, which is weird. Where would they go? Did someone took them home as a trophy? It's gross. A big reveal does happen towards the end. Reading in my notes, I'm sorry. Explaining completely what was going on, but in my mind, still didn't make sense. It was still very strange and very creepy, and I was the whole time thinking, why didn't you stop this? What was the whole point of doing all this stuff? It doesn't seem to have helped anybody. Ooh, I'm not trying to give it away. Not trying to give it away. And at one point, the writer states, now this is the fictional writer in the book, that he reviewed the manuscripts for this book. So he knows Uketsu, okay? And he did a critique of Uketsu's book, and it's included in the book. So it's a little breaking the fourth wall there, where a fictional character is talking to a real person, like living real person. That's a little unusual. I haven't seen it done so blatantly in a story before, but he does criticize the book, saying that Uketsu left out some very important facts or truths in the story, but he didn't believe that it was intentional or in a way to deceive anyone who would read the story. So now I'm wondering, is there a sequel? Maybe there's going to be another story that actually finishes this one out. Because at the end of this, I didn't feel satisfied with the conclusion. I thought, oh, okay, there's more to come, because nothing's been resolved. There's a lot of explaining that needs to happen. Okay, there's a lot of explaining, but it is a good book. It is a good book. I read this in like 3 hours, and it's not very thick. But it did have me in there reading it like nonstop. I had to take a break just so I could go to bed. And then I picked it up the next day and was done with it. I don't know what's going on in this book. I don't know. And then the author, no one knows the author's name. Apparently this person is on YouTube, like for reals on YouTube. And fair warning, I'm going to show you the picture. You know how some of the back cover of books have information about the author in it? Well, this one does. You ready? You ready? It's scary. You can look away now. I'll tell you when you can look back. Ready? That's him. You can look back. He wears a mask and wears a black bodysuit in his YouTube videos. Now, I'm too scared to look up his YouTube videos. I don't know if I want to do that. I have to go back a minute, because I just said that the author criticized Uketsu's work. Uketsu was upset. Just let that sit. He was upset. Anyway, I like the book. There is another one called Strange Pictures, which I haven't read yet. This book was loaned to me. I had never heard of this author before. My daughter actually recommended it to me and thought I would like it. I did like it. I have questions. I want to know what's going to happen. Is it going to get resolved? I also want to know if there's anything else we can find out about the author. So I will do my best to list what I can find down in the description box. Y'all go down there and look and see if you can find yourself a copy of the book at your library. If you can't, ask your library to order it for you or place a hold on it and have it shipped to you. That way you don't have to pay for a book if you don't know if you're going to like it. And I'm not looking at the camera at all. I'm looking at the screen, and I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyway, go to your library, okay? Use it. It's a free resource. In America, our taxes pay for it. You can go to the library, check out a book. You go get your library card. You don't even have to pay for that. All you have to have is an address and a phone number. Give them an address, give them a phone number. You come out with a nice shiny license to visit the whole world in your imagination, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. They have reference books. They have Sometimes they have movies that you can watch or books that you can download electronically so you can view them on your readers, your electronic readers, or on your computers or on your phone or whatever. They also have where you can check out the book and listen to it, like an audio book or something, have somebody reading it to you. Why is that so hard to say? That was hard for me to talk about. I guess I was trying to make sure that I'm not given using a brand name when I said Audible, but you can audibly listen to the story. Maybe I need to go back to bed. Anywho, y'all, tell me what you're reading. Put it down in the comments. Tell me if you recommend any books for me to read, because I would love to hear some. I do have a stack of books I'm working on. I do have a stack of books I'm working on making reviews for. But do let me know what you're reading. Maybe I've read it before. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe I can include it in a future video. I would love to do that. Kind to yourselves and each other. Don't be mean. There's no reason for that. Don't be mean. Okay? Thank you all for coming. Bye.